Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. A couple of weeks ago I was on the Typical Skeptic podcast, and prior to going on I talked to the show's host Robert via email, and we talked about a variety of subjects, and one of them happened to be Gerald Clark. And during the email I had mentioned to him that I had talked to some people who felt that Gerald Clark had been targeted, and when I went on the show he posed this question to me which caught me off guard. And I want to show that to you first.
And someone that we know of that I look up to very highly, Gerald Clark, we think that something might have happened to him too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Gerald Clark contracted cancer. There's people out there that believe that he was given the cancer. And I don't know what the origin of this information is. I need to speak to this person again. As you can see, I was a bit reluctant to answer that question. I would have hoped that it would have stayed as a private matter between the two of us, but then I realized that it had to be said, and I was worried about what Krista Clark would feel about it, as well as her family. And I got the answer recently because she did a video about it, which I'm going to show some clips from in just a moment. But before we do, I want to talk about Gerald Clark a little bit. He passed away on June 4th of 2020. From a tumor. It was obviously from cancer, and we really lost a very special and very prominent member of the starseed community when that took place. Gerald had written several books about the Anunnaki as well as the New World Order, and he tied those two subjects together, and unfortunately that was what led to him contracting cancer. So this is very difficult for me to talk about. So before I get more emotional and I have trouble talking, I want to show a clip from a video that his wife made just a few weeks back.
Hey you guys, Krista Clark on behalf of Seventh Planet Broadcasting. Today I have somewhat of a controversial video. Okay, a pretty controversial video. But Gerald was quite controversial himself, and he was a man that wasn't afraid to speak the truth, and if he found something, wasn't afraid to shine light on it. A while ago, a friend that was new to the information about the Anunnaki was asking for a video suggestion. So I suggested a video that Gerald had done with James. It has a broad range of topics and goes over the Anunnaki Council of 12, the original story of how humanity was created, and it also progresses into where we're at today. I thought I should probably watch it as well, so I know what I'm, giving him, because it's been a while. So I watched it, and you guys, I was literally on the floor, like crawling at the walls and falling down in a state of just complete shock and brokenness when I heard what I heard. And before, I really couldn't even ask these types of questions. It hurt too much. It was much easier to just accept that Gerald suddenly got a tumor and got cancer and then eventually passed. That was hard enough to process, let alone the thought that maybe he was targeted, that maybe, some other force might have gone after him. And he even suggested this to me. One time we were sitting outside and these dragonflies came by and they made sounds like a drone. And if you know what dragonflies are like in nature, they don't make any sound. You can't hear them. It was really weird and it really caught our attention. And he thought maybe a frequency was sent at that point. And we lived excessively healthy lives. We did not drink. We were eating healthy, as best as we could at the time with our knowledge where we were at. We were vegan and we took supplements and we did everything we could to do it right. Could that have played an influence? Perhaps. I'm not gonna say one way or the other. He tried to tell me that he felt like maybe he was being targeted, and I honestly when you love someone and see them so strong and have to care for them and watch them lose all their abilities and take care of them from head to toe, it is not an easy path. And to see them lose some of their brain functions and their weight and their health, it's I don't wish it on my worst enemy. I don't really even have an enemy, but I don't wish it on anyone. It was hard for me to also process the fact that this didn't have to happen, that maybe he truly was targeted. I'm not sure. I can't say one way or the other, but when I heard this video, when I heard him say out of his very mouth,
such that you choose wrong and you're going down, you'll end up with cancer, you'll end up with a tumor from some electromagnetic frequency you didn't know about. Who knows?
Sure.
The exact thing that happened to him, to say that you could be targeted, that you could have a frequency sent to you, that you could get a tumor, that you could get cancer, and they could take you out. And that's precisely, I mean, he had a tumor, he got cancer, and then that was it. And the positive, could it also be that he had completed his mission, he had completed his time here on Earth, and he was needed somewhere else and for ascension? Absolutely. I do think that plays a role. And could it also have been past traumatic accident? He had hit his hip on a cliff at a very high speed, and he had a lot of hard things to deal with his son and traumas. Could it have also been that? Absolutely. I'm not going to say one way or the other what it is. I don't do this to upset anyone. I don't do this to stir the pot. I don't do it to upset the community. I just am sharing what I found. And could it be possible? Yes. Anyways, I love you all. I send you so much love and so much support. I know sometimes maybe I'm quiet on these topics, but they're in my heart, they're in my soul. I absolutely believe in the Anunnaki and Gerald's work, and I will continue to support him and keep him alive to the best of my ability.
It was heart-wrenching to hear those words. And Krista, if you're watching this video, I just want you to know there's a lot of us that are going through this right now. There used to be a time when the government wanted to shut you up, they had to do it through conventional means. Now they have the technology to reach out and hurt you and kill you anywhere on the planet. There's a lot of us going through this right now. And I've met people in Project Avalon who have been going through it, and I personally am going through it. And I want to read an email from a friend of mine who's also a contactee, a starseed. And here's what he wrote to me, and this is in regard to the energy attacks. Hi, Nate. The symptoms we all get from the directed energy attacks are: can hear a frequency noise, feel out of it and feel underwater, can't think, mental blank, etc. Can sometimes even see it heating the atmosphere around you, the air. Can sometimes feel heated up for no reason and a little tingly. Feel sick in the stomach, like your gut is imploding. Nausea, cramps, an in shock feeling, a feeling like you're dying and weak. Nose can get stuffy. Then he went on to say, good luck, Nate, with the video. But do look after yourself. They are hitting us hard, and it might be better to wait. Well, there's no point in waiting, because they're going to do it to me anyway. It doesn't matter. Probably after this video is published, I'll get hit again, just like I've gotten hit with the last video that I did and the one before that. My symptoms are a little bit different, but they're very similar. And I just wanted to say that this person who sent me this email has had his health destroyed, and it nearly murdered his girlfriend and several other friends that have helped him to take this awakening journey. And anyway, this is very difficult to talk about, because I start to think about people that I care about that are sick. Anyway, what I want to say is that these attacks are being carried out by the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is the highest intel agency in the United States government. They're also colluding with other governments around the world to carry out this program. There's a research scientist named Dr. Robert Duncan who wrote a book called Project Soul Catcher, which you can purchase of Amazon.com, and he gives you a lot of information about this technology. He claims to be part of it. I don't know why they've allowed him to speak and they haven't targeted him. The only thing I can think about is they're using him like a honeypot. He's out there putting this information out there to create sort of a psyop so that we, the ones who are being targeted with directed energy, can see this and read his book and, you know, hear about what he has to say, so that it invokes or strikes more fear in this. That's the only thing that I can think of. But anyway, the way that they do this is they use cell towers. They also use ground wave emergency network towers called Gwen towers. These were built during the Cold War. They're large radio towers. They're positioned all over the United States in various strategic areas. The towers are owned and managed by the Department of Defense. At the top of each cell tower, the Department of Defense has the jurisdiction to put whatever type of technology that they want to put there for this particular purpose and for others. And even worse than that, there's plenty of Defense Department satellites that circle the Earth, and they can target you from any place on this planet, and I would say probably even Antarctica. So there's no place to go, nothing is safe, and they are targeting starseeds, and they're actually going after a lot of different people. They first began this whole program so that they could target people who were political dissenters. These were activists and so forth, people that weren't going to go with the status quo. Then they realized that there was an awakening taking place, and these attacks that are levied on starseeds are actually more than just your typical attack. They don't use the mind control like they do with other types of victims of directed energy. What they do is they combine this with extraterrestrial psychic attacks as well as psychic attacks from super soldiers. And I know this sounds crazy, but it's happening to a large number of people. There's people in Project Avalon that thanked me for coming forward with this when I made a previous video about 3 or 4 months ago. These people are afraid to come forward, because if you come forward and you make videos and you talk publicly about this and you are a targeted individual, they will continue to target you and hit you even harder. The goal is to kill you. So right now there's really not much we can do about this. I do know in the future that there is a plan to shut this down by the extraterrestrials, which are the positive side of the equation. But right now we're completely defenseless and they're killing us. And it really, really pains me to see this happening. Anyway, I really can't go forward with this video after this. I have to stop. And I'm going to be talking about this in the future, the next couple of weeks. So I just want to tell everybody out there, be kind to each other, support each other, be there for each other, and just be careful, because this is how they shut down the awakening. And there's other aspects of this that I'm going to be talking about. It's a complete assault on us. And they only go after people who are really influential, and that's the problem. And they also go after people that are what they consider to be an international threat to the status quo or the New World Order. And I was going to stop, but I figured I really need to talk about this a little bit more. And I want to go into the reason why I believe that Gerald Clark was targeted. First of all, if you were to take a poll or a survey with a large cross-section of starseeds who are in the awakening process, the majority of them would probably tell you that they started their awakening process when they first heard about the Anunnaki story, which is the Sumerian clay tablets. They may mention Zecharia Sitchin, but for the younger ones, they'll most likely mention Gerald Clark. And the government felt that Gerald Clark was an influential threat to the status quo, because he's waking us up. They don't want us to wake up. And that's the main reason that I see there. And when he tied the Anunnaki story in with the subject of the New World Order and a lot of government corruption, and he began talking about the ability of the government to target people. It was pretty much the kiss of death for him. They target influential people that they feel that are going to create a social movement, and Gerald Clark definitely had that ability to do something like that. They don't target your typical starseed influencer, the people that read tarot cards, those who channel information that's contradictory and so forth. These are the people that skirt by, and they also target people that are researchers as well, and other people who do UFO ET related podcasts. And there's kind of a dirty little secret out there in the UFO ET community, and that dirty little secret is that if you go too far with the subject matter, you could put yourself at serious risk. And in the past, the government has killed a lot of different people in regard to the secrecy surrounding UFOs and extraterrestrials. And now they can do it remotely. So I just wanted to finish the video by making my statement. I'm a little bit discombobulated tonight. I don't feel good about this, and I'm sure there's going to be some negative repercussions, but I'm just going to have to weather the storm and keep talking about this because we need to get the word out. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care.